Hello. So welcome back to Agape's Abode, where I'm your host Rebecca. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about faith again. This is going to be why we need faith part 2, because I did some more digging as I was reading the book of Matthew, and I found 3 stories to be very interesting in the instances of faith. So to get right into it, the first story is the story of the bleeding woman and how she got healed, which is in Matthew 8:1-3. The second story is the Roman centurion's servant's healing, and the faith that the Roman centurion had, and that's going to be in Matthew 8:5-13. And then the last one is the healing of the synagogue leader's daughter, because she had unfortunately passed away. She was healed and she was raised from the dead. So that one is going to be in Matthew chapter 9 verses 18-24. And because it's kind of a lot, I'm not going to put everything on the screen like down here as I normally do. I would just suggest getting this app. It is the Holy Bible app. I don't know if you can see that there. It's just this app here. So yeah, I will leave you to read that on your own time, because it's a lot of text. But anyways, so these 3 people who came to Jesus asking for healing, what was the common factor and why did they end up being healed? What they had in common was faith, and not just faith, but it was bold faith. It was a confident faith that, you know, there was no doubt whatsoever in their mind. They knew that Jesus could heal, and like that was that. They didn't come to Jesus, you know, begging, saying, oh please, you know. They said, I know I will be healed, or I know that, you know, you're a healer. They made a statement rather than begging, saying like, oh please do this, please do this. They said, I know that you can do this. And so because of that, whoever they were asking for healing, whether it was themselves or if it was someone else that was close to them, they got their answer. Healing occurred because of that. So why is faith necessary in your walk with God? Faith is very necessary in your walk with God. It's kind of impossible to walk with him without faith, because if you don't have faith God will move, then why would he move? For example, let's say you are out and about and you're going to a restaurant and you have no faith in asking the waiter for pretty much anything, but you ask anyways, and the way you ask, it comes out very weak in a sense. Not like weak as in like, oh, like or kind of strong and weak, but I mean weak in the sense of you weren't confident in what you were asking, you weren't bold in what you were asking. You didn't say, oh, like you didn't say, may you please grab me some ketchup, you know. It was just like, oh, if you have time, like, could you please do this, could you please, it's like that. So, and if he's busy and he's not the best waiter, then he's probably not gonna come back and, you know, make his rounds to you. He's probably just gonna skip over you because he was like, well, you know, this person, the way they asked, he perceived it a certain way. He was like, okay, whatever, just push it to the side. But God's not gonna push anyone to the side, of course. If you ask without faith, there's no basis for even asking in the first place, because to ask is to have faith, even if it's a little bit of faith. Without faith, it is very highly unlikely that God will move, because if you don't have faith, then what's the point if you're not going to believe him anyways? We ask our friends to meet us at certain places on certain days in faith that they're actually going to show up. We ask people for directions in faith that they're actually going to give us the directions to the right place. Sometimes we even ask strangers to watch our stuff in public with the faith that they're not going to steal our stuff, and our stuff is going to remain, you know, safe and looked over. And if we can have faith in these small instances with people that we probably don't even know half the time, why not put your faith in someone who has shown faithfulness throughout all of time? Like, why not put your faith in Jesus? We rarely doubt if you know, someone is actually going to do what they say on a basis of faith, we rarely doubt that unless, you know, maybe had some experiences with that person that's questionable. But that's besides the point. If it's, let's say, a stranger you don't know and you just ask them a question, you already have faith that they're going to answer in probably a genuine manner. You don't think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask this person because it's a silly question, or because I don't think they're gonna tell me the truth of where the bathroom is. Like, you have faith already that they're just going to tell you, because it's, most of the time if you're talking to a stranger, asking a stranger something, it's a very simple, easy question. And that's to say that we are sheep. We follow people without a doubt, but the only doubt that we have, the only inkling of doubt that most people ever have, is when it comes to God, because we can't actually like physically see him face to face. And that's where a lot of, I guess, those who don't believe in him, that's where the doubt comes from, is because they're like, oh, well, I can't see him, so does he exist? It's like, well, I don't want to say that, but the people that you see and the people that you talk to, you never know what's in somebody's heart, and you never know who is actually a decent person and who's not, whether you can see them or not. But with God, you can't see him physically, but you can trust that he is good. Because if you just think about it, with God being God, and he can do quite literally anything he wants, he's outside of space, time, and matter, as I said in my previous video. He could have wiped the face of the earth during Noah's time and called it a day. Like, he did not have to save Noah and his family. And if that's what he wanted to do, that's what would have been done. But God is so good and so loving that he was like, hey, let me give them another chance. Let me give them another try, and let me help them out more this time. And that's what you see from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Basically, God just helping us out more and more and more, because it's revealed throughout majority of the Old Testament, I would say, how incapable we are of pleasing him on not our own terms, but within our own capacity. You never know the hearts of people, because someone may look good on the outside, but on the inside they could be feeling some type of way about you, whether that's envious of you or maybe planning bad things for you. And these are only things that God can see, which is why, even though we can't see God, he can see all, which is why we have to have our faith placed in him, because he knows when you're going down a bad path. Essentially, all he wants to do is protect you from that and tell you, hey, like, this isn't the road that you should go down. Like, let's turn around and let's go this way. Like, follow me instead of following them. And he will lead you to safety. Not just safety physically, but safety as in dealing with your soul, which is a whole different kind of peace and safe that the world can't give. Our faith, a lot of the times, is misplaced in all of the wrong things. It almost seems like it's placed in every single thing but God. And interestingly enough, in a couple chapters before those 3 stories in Matthew, is the infamous verse, Matthew 7:7, which reads, "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you." That was Jesus speaking. So if Jesus is saying, you know, seek and you will find, ask and it will be given, knock and the door will be opened, especially when it comes to him, you can have 100% guarantee that that is going to be fulfilled, because Jesus is the only one we can be sure that he means what he says with the purest intentions possible. And it doesn't matter whether, you know, you're struggling with something big or small, when it has to come with faith and trusting that God has it, because God is a God who cares about all your problems, all your worries, all your successes, all your failures, big or small. He cares about every single one of them, and he's going to be right there with you through every single one of them and help you through every single one of them. Like, keep in mind, like, this is the God who came down, made himself human and subject to his own creation and subject to death, and died for us because he loves us so much. He came and he served us when he didn't have to at all. So why wouldn't he respond when we call out to him in faith? You know, it wouldn't make sense. He wouldn't just hear the requests and the prayers that of course align with his will, because sometimes we ask things that are so out of pocket and then we get mad at God and we're like, why didn't you answer? Or like, why don't you grant this, knowing exactly why? And it's just self-explanatory, but I'm not talking about that. There's no way that he would hear your heart, hear your prayers, and just choose not to answer. That's not who God is. And to think that that's who he is a lie from the enemy, because that's not at all his character, not at all who he is. Of course he hears and he listens, and he listens intently to everything, even our hearts when our mouth cannot speak the words that we need to speak to communicate. Our heart does, and he can hear that, even though it's a language that I guess we can't understand because it has to do with the heart. He understands it because he made it. So moral of the story is be bold in your faith, and go to God with quite literally everything. Like, that's what he's there for. I probably sound like a broken record at this point because I say this, I think, in almost every video, but that's really what he's there for, you know? Like, it's the simple things as well. In the morning, if I'm super confused and I don't know what to wear, I will literally ask the Lord, like, hey, I'm struggling finding an outfit right now, I don't know what to wear. And I'll end up wearing something that I'm comfortable in and that I actually genuinely like, because he helped me out with it, because he made me, he knows my style because he made my style. Like, hello. And with big things as well, whether that's maybe something personal that you're struggling with, or healing for someone that you may know, or deliverance for yourself or someone, even big things like that, those things can be harder to have faith in. But when you read the word and you read and understand, or begin to understand God's character, you begin to see, like, hey, there's no reason why he would reject me, because he is God. He doesn't reject, he embraces. Jesus said that you just have to have faith the size of a mustard seed. And if you ever have seen a mustard seed, or you can Google it, it's basically like kind of the size of a sesame seed, but just more round. If you have faith that size, Jesus says, you can move mountains. Like, how cool is that? Imagine what you can do with faith bigger than the size of a mustard seed. Just food for thought. But anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this part 2. This might become a series because I'm still learning so much, and especially on the topic of faith, I'm learning a lot. So this might become a series, it might not, we will see. But anyways, also sorry about last week. I never explained why I didn't upload, which I guess I don't know really what had happened. I just got discouraged, long story short. And I was like, you know, I don't even know if this is the right topic I should be doing. Like, I was praying over it. I was struggling with faith, ironically speaking. But yeah, I was struggling with faith big time, and I just decided to take a small break and recoup with God and just kind of be in my word and learn. And whatever the Lord points out to me, what he wants me to speak on, then I'm gonna speak on that. I unfortunately let it get the best of me, but hey, that's a part of being human. We're not going to win 100% of the battles all the time, you know. Sometimes you're gonna fall, but that's okay, because Jesus is there to pick you up, which is exactly what he did with me. As much as I was disappointed that I wasn't able to get a video up, I was okay, because I needed the break, I needed the rest, and I spent some quality time with the Lord, which just gave me so much peace and so much comfort. And so I was okay, you know, okay up here and in here, which is what matters most. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was useful information that you can use on your own walk with Jesus. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, good rest of your night, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.